So there's two ways to kind of measure where you are in this journey
Yep.
of finding meaning, of searching and finding for meaning. The two ways to do it are what's called search and presence.
Mm-hmm.
Search is how intensively you're looking to answer these why questions. Why do things happen the way they do? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And why does my life matter, right? That's search. And some people are intense seekers like you, Tim. You're an intense seeker. This show is an exercise in search.
Yes.
And part of it is because this is not just a new hack for getting better biceps. This is a new way of trying to understand why we're alive. That's what the show is, kind of the theme of the show. It's why I listen to the show. This is why I learn things, because I'm a seeker too. But then how successful you are is your presence, search and presence. Presence is, I have answers that are satisfactory to me. As you get older, if you seek, your presence score should go up. And mine certainly has.
So is a presence...
The presence of meaning.
Make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah.
One is seeking an answer. And then presence is accepting
Is
an
having
answer.
something that's satisfactory.
All right, got it.
Is having satisfactory. Now, there's some people who have sky-high presence scores and really low search scores. Those are people who, like those fortunate individuals who are born going, yep, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not going to leave my hometown. Why am I going to leave my hometown? It's awesome here, right? What do I need to do? I'm going to marry my high school sweetheart. I'm going to work in my daddy's business. And I'm going to go to the church I grew up in. And they're very, very stable. We think of these as conservative individuals. Dispositional conservatives, they tend to have low search and high presence.
Right. And to be clear, this is not
political.
political.
It might be, but that's not really the point, right? I'm talking about dispositional conservatism is conserving good things that preceded you. And why are they good things? Because they give you meaning of life is kind of what it comes down to. On the other hand, you might be somebody who's a seeker, and you don't find it very much. And I'm very moderate in presence. It's higher than it used to be. My presence of meaning was in the cellar when I was in my 20s for sure. And in my 60s is much, much higher for sure. But it's still not,
What do you attribute the improvement to?
As being alive and actually searching a lot and looking at data and optimizing and trying to live a life on purpose, is self-managing. I mean, I'm a behavioral scientist because I want answers. And I want answers for me. I'm looking for the biggest questions to answer, to at least address the biggest questions of my life. That's why I do what I do for a living. My life is an experiment, a pure on revolving adventure.
So I'm curious if I can just interject for a second about the present piece specifically, because I think many people listening to the show will self-identify as seekers.
Right.
But there are traps along the way as you identify as a seeker.
And I talk about these in the book.
And I'll just tell one quick anecdote, and then I'd love to hear how you have improved, or whether it's just been not a passive, but something that has unfolded for you, the presence piece specifically. I remember talking to a very, very experienced psychedelic therapy facilitator who's been doing it for many decades, thousands and thousands of different people in sessions. And they told me a story, which they said is common and becoming more common, that people will come in and after their session, they'll say, yeah, I was experiencing so much joy, this beautiful light, this love in this session, but I kept wondering when I was going to do the real work. Like when I was going to do the hard work.
Yeah.
And the way the facilitator explained it was, in a sense, more and more so, she's running into people who are in pursuit of this durable contentment, satisfaction, joy. But when they experience it in these sessions, they're like, yeah, I'll get this out of the way so I can do the hard work to reach the joy. But they're just pushing aside all the joy as they continue their endless seeking.
They're just not going to take yes for an answer.
Right. So I'm wondering how you learn to take yes as an answer.
It's not easy because when you're a chronic seeker, there's always something more. There's always something new. And you can't be there yet. The answer to this actually comes, two of my kids are Marines. And so I have one enlisted Marine, I have one officer in the Marine Corps. And my daughter's a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps. And right now she's at Quantico and she's going through the basic school, getting ready to do her MOS. She wants to be a signals intelligence officer. My son was enlisted. He was a scout sniper. He was in a scout sniper platoon out of Camp Pendleton. And that's a super interesting and dangerous job. As a non-commissioned officer, he led a lot of guys. What they train Marines to do in leadership is to get to 80% knowledge and then choose and stop looking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's really, really important because you're going to be paralyzed if you're trying to get to 100%
You're
knowledge.
never going to have
which is what
information.
the pure seeker mentality does. If you want to seek and get higher presence, you need to go to 80%.
Mm-hmm.
And now, how do you get to 80%? You get to 80% by saying, I'm pretty sure this is right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is right enough that I'm going to turn my attention to another dimension
Mm-hmm.
on this. And that means, friends, if you're in love, you should get married. That's what that means.
Wow.
That means if you're in love and you know each other
Mm-hmm.
and you think that within 3 to 5 years, you really could be best friends.
Yeah.
And you have a certain stability of values, stop looking.
Yeah.
Get married. Why? Because the longer you don't get married, the longer you're in search for your soulmate, the more you're putting off the best thing in your life. You're postponing the best thing in your life. Marriage is the best thing in life for most people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a bad marriage is the worst thing in life, right? But for most people, this is and for men and women, all this fiction about the fact that marriage is good for men but bad for women is all nonsense. Brad Wilcox's research at Virginia is completely clear on this. It's better for everybody. Being in love and living with the person with whom you're in love for the rest of your life is great. But you're not going to get that if you're trying to get to 99% awareness.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to search all the way to the point, because you'll never get that. You're going to have an argument. You're going to have a disagreement. You're going to have doubts. You're going to digest something in a weird way and think, maybe I'm not in love. And the same thing is true with your faith.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to practice? Get to 80% awareness and choose. And then decide that that's what you're actually going to do. Use the Marine rule of leadership. And then the search can actually lead to presence.